Hey, what's going on? Zach here, and these are my favorite ankle braces and sleeves for basketball, tennis, or any other court sport you might be playing. Here we go. And how I'm gonna go about this list is I'm gonna start from least supportive and going all the way up to most supportive, so you can kind of find the right brace or sleeve for your needs along the way. So the first category is just generalized compression around the ankle, but just remember, any elastic ankle sleeve you may buy is not there to provide stability from ankle sprains or twisting or turning. It just doesn't have the stability for that. These are meant more for swelling management, coming back from an injury, anything that has more of an inflammatory component to it, not necessarily something requiring a lot of stability or requiring a lot of rigidity. Now, my favorite one is the Copper Fit Elite ankle compression sock. Honestly, I don't really think it matters the company you use in these. The only reason I like Copper Fit so much is because, number one, you can pretty much find them anywhere and they are relatively cheap. Also, because it has copper in it, it can be a little bit more odor resistant. However, that's really all the copper does. Now, the next are over-the-counter ankle braces, which are the same things you might find in a sporting goods store, or you might find your doctor giving you, or you might find a professional athlete wearing on TV. Now, in terms of the over-the-counter ankle braces, I do think the brand does make a little bit of a difference. My favorite has been ASO, just because they've been really consistent over the years. They're not giving any money. These are mine, so I'm not getting anything from them to say this. Now, ASO has three main lines of braces. It starts with just their standard ankle stabilizer, then the EVO or EVO, and then the flex hinge. Now, I honestly don't see a big reason to buy the standard ASO anymore, just because the EVO does protect against, number one, a standard ankle sprain. It also helps with tendonitis, but it also helps against those really bad high ankle sprains because it does put a lot of compression on what's called your tib-fib syndesmosis, which is usually what tears with a high ankle sprain, whereas their standard one doesn't do it. And both of them fit the same in shoes and pretty much same comfort and durability. So I'm just not sure why you'd buy the regular one when you can just get the EVO. And for people with really rigid needs, maybe somebody with multiple chronic ankle sprains or somebody with really crippling tendonitis that does not want to wear a custom brace, the ASO Flex Hinge brace actually has these two plastic struts that go underneath the foot. They're connected, and that really does stop a lot of that side-to-side motion, and it stops a lot of overpronation or oversupination. Now, the one bad thing about the Flex Hinge is that it has a flex hinge in it, and so this is actually pretty hard to get into a shoe because it just bulks up the shoe a lot, and the shoe has to be a lot wider to fit it. So if you're going to buy the Flex Hinge, you may also want to consider going with a custom brace, which we'll get to in a second. However, if you don't want to spend that kind of money on a custom, or you don't want the bulk of them, the Flex Hinge is kind of like that middle ground from the EVO and the standard up to the custom. Now, getting into custom braces, remember, a custom brace is usually going to be a lot bulkier than the over-the-counter because it takes more material to mold it around your ankle. You also need to go to a doctor to go get one, and it's going to be a lot more expensive depending on your insurance coverage. So the first one is the most low profile, at least in my opinion, and that is the Ritchie brace, named after the person that invented it, Douglas Ritchie. Now, the nice thing about the Ritchie brace is it actually incorporates a custom orthotic into it. So if you're somebody with more of a pronation issue, more of overpronation, painful flat foot, or tendonitis, these are going to be a really nice pickup because you do get an incredibly high arch in them and a really good kind of stopper in terms of overpronation. Plus, you have the big struts that come up on the inside or medial and lateral side of your foot. Now, what I really like about these is it actually moves with you. So if you're someone that does need to have a lot of flexibility with your movement, the Ritchie brace will move front to back really well, and to a certain extent side to side really well too. However, it is not going to allow as much side to side movement as, say, something like the ASOs will, just because, number one, they have hinges on them and they are much more of a stout and stiff material. And the other bad thing about the Ritchie braces is it does kind of push you up in the shoe a little bit more. So get ready to be a little bit higher in that shoe and get ready for a much tighter experience versus some other of these. And last, and probably certainly most infamous of all the braces, is the Arizona brace, or kind of the standard ankle foot orthosis you hear people talk about. And this is a completely custom molded brace, molded from your ankle, lower leg, and foot. Now, this also incorporates a custom insert in the bottom of it in a rigid shell that goes all the way up the leg, except in the Arizona brace, unlike the Ritchie brace, it is what's called a gauntlet, which means it comes all the way around your foot with solid material. This is leather, foam, and it is pretty stiff. Now, the good thing about the Arizona brace is that, number one, it allows no motion, so most pain goes away with these because there's nothing to move to cause pain. Now, the only bad part is for an athlete is that it's not going to allow any motion either. So if you're a basketball player that really relies on light and nimble footwork, or a tennis player that wants to go side to side, it's going to be incredibly hard to play in these, at least at your highest level. Now, if you're someone that really doesn't pride themselves on footwork and you're just looking to go out there and hit some balls or shoot some hoops around, doesn't really care about shuffle stepping or sidestepping or really aggressive pivoting or moving, then yeah, these will probably be fine for you. However, if you are somebody that really wants to play at a very high athletic level in terms of their sprinting and moving back and forth side to side, then these actually might start really annoying you, especially in the upper leg with blisters and just overall pain in other areas of your leg because they're restricting so much motion in your ankle. But, you know, being able to get out there and play is better than not. So if this is your last option prior to surgery and you're somebody very averse to surgery in your ankle, then yeah, I think these are a good pickup. Just remember the limitations of them. And so in terms of my personal opinion about the braces, typically I am just going with the ASO EVO brace for most simple ankle sprains or most simple tendonitis. If somebody does come in with a little bit more of a painful flat foot, I'll either keep them in the EVO and put them in a custom orthotic, or sometimes I will put them in a Ritchie brace. If you're a basketball player, I have a little bit more leeway in putting you in something like a Ritchie brace or a more custom molded AFO, just because with basketball, a lot of the motion is front to back, whereas in tennis, a lot of it is side to side, same with pickleball. And so for those side to side sports, you need a little bit more forgiveness on the side, whereas with basketball, if you look at Steph Curry, he usually uses a rigid brace when he's wearing them. And the reason he can get away with that is because a lot of his movement is front to back. And usually with any standard sleeve or over-the-counter brace, besides the flex hinge, you don't really need to go up any shoe sizes. However, once you start to get into the flex hinge or the custom braces, a lot of times you will have to go up that 1/2 size in your shoe, so make sure you're watching out for that. And remember, all of these will require a higher crew sock, because if you don't, they will rub your skin into oblivion. Now, if you want to see my favorite socks for tennis, basketball, and other court sports, make sure you click into this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect to rubber and foam and leather and vinyl and Velcro. I'll see you in the next video.